factors. These are those factors that the existence of which will cripple or invalidate the contract. Will cripple or invalidate the contract. So these factors, when they can be seen in a contract, they are there in a contract. One of them is there in a contract. It makes the contract invalid. In other words, the contract cannot be enforceable in the court. So what are some of these vitiating factors? So these include mistakes. Number 2, misrepresentation. Number 3, duress. Number 4, undue influence. And then number 5, sometimes we call it illegality. So these are the 5 vitiating factors which, when present, makes a contract invalid. But let's take them one after the other and talk briefly about them. So number 1, misrepresentation. What is a misrepresentation? A misrepresentation is a false statement of fact or law which induces the other party to enter into the agreement. In other words, when somebody makes a false statement, that makes the other party enter into the contract, then it becomes what? A misrepresentation. So let's say, for instance, you sell drinks, beverages and everything. Then I come park a car. Then I come out and I'm wearing Casa Preco t-shirt and I'm having an ID card. Then I said, oh, sir, this is my ID. I'm working at Casa Preco Company Limited. We are seeing businesses and try to sell to them at affordable prices so they can buy and also resell to others. Then he said, oh, okay, that sounds good. Then I said, okay, for you to get that offer, you must make a deposit of 2,000 Ghana cedis, and then tomorrow we're going to be bringing you your first consignment. All right. Then you're like, whoa, that sounds good. Then you wire the money to me. You wire the money to me. The following day, you didn't hear anything. Next day, where dodge. The following day, where dodge. Okay, so what do? You go to Casa Preco Limited or you call them. Then he said, oh, somebody from your company came yesterday. I paid the person 2,000 cedis. The person even gave me a receipt and I can't hear from the person. Then Casa Preco said, yeah, we don't have people going out like that now. We've not been doing that this time around. Then you're like, I don't understand. I'm taking Casa Preco to court. If you go to court, the person that you claim came to you is not an employee of Casa Preco. So you should have done your due diligence before buying the thing or before giving the person any money at the end of the day. And so that becomes what? A misrepresentation, and makes the contract invalid, so that in your mind you are entering into contracts with Casa Preco, not knowing you didn't enter into any contract with Casa Preco, and you entered into contract with somebody else who is not an employee of the Casa Preco. But the person was able to convince you. Why? Because the person makes a false statement and you were induced to fall into that trap. And we said that a statement of opinion or intention are not misrepresentation as long as the opinion is genuinely held at the time. So for instance, if someone shares an opinion, so we are entering into contract, then you asked me a question, then I said, okay, I don't have the full detail about it, but I think A, B, and C is what is the case. Then we entered into the contract. You cannot call that I induced you, I lied to you. No, you knew it, that at the time I was making the statement, I said, hey, this is my opinion. So it's not that I knew the fact and I was lying, or I didn't know the fact and I didn't take time to look at it. It's just my opinion, and you knew it and you entered into it. So if the opinion is genuinely held at the time of entering into the contract, then it shall not be referred to as a misrepresentation. Then silence. Silence will not constitute a misrepresentation as well. So sometimes when you ask a question to the either offerer or the offeree, and there is an exchange between the two parties before they go into the contract, and one party is silent, that silence may not be referred to as a misrepresentation unless one, it turns the statement that has been made to be a half truth. So for instance, there is this generic statement that we make that silence means consent. So if you ask something and I don't respond to you, and by that you concluded that, oh, okay, then what you are saying is true, then it could be referred to as what? A misrepresentation. Then two, if the silence is concealing a relevant, conceals a relevant change in circumstances, then that can also be referred to as what? A misrepresentation. So if I kept quiet because I am trying not to open a lot, I'm trying not to tell you too much, I'm trying not to get myself trapped, at the end of the day, then what is going to be happening is that it could be referred to as a misrepresentation in that particular case. But the big question we ask ourselves is, what are the types of misrepresentation? So we said we have fraudulent misrepresentation, negligent misrepresentation, and then innocent misrepresentation. So with the fraudulent misrepresentation, this refers to a misrepresentation that is made with the knowledge of the falsity or with the reckless disregard as its truth. So here, the representee, the one making this false statement, knows for a fact that this statement he or she is making is a lie, but he makes it anyway to induce you to enter into the contract. So my example of Casapreco and somebody coming from Casapreco is an example of what? Fraudulent misrepresentation. Because the person came and knew that the statement he or she was making was a lie, but he makes it anyway and lie to you. Remember, the key thing about misrepresentation is that it should cause the other party to enter into the contract. If it doesn't cause the other party to enter into the contract, that cannot be a misrepresentation. But we said there is a remedy available. That woman who has been deceived, who has taken Casapreco to court, and the court says, Casapreco doesn't own you anything, go away, we don't have any problem with you. Two options are available. Recession. Like I say all the time, this is where the woman will say, okay, then she starts crying and starts calling things. Then Agbalagba will be thrown to you who came to lie to her. If there is anything like that, in that case, that is recession. Or if the woman is able to see you, then the woman can take you to court and can sue you for thought deceit, so that you will be able to pay back whatever 2,000 cedis he has paid you, and any legal fee that he has incurred in taking Casapreco to court, and any other damages that the court will see it or will see it fit for the particular scenario and the circumstance. So whatever it is, under fraudulent misrepresentation, the injured party is not really at loss unless otherwise the injured party tries to go for recession, in which case nothing will be received, but they can sue, or the injured party can sue, and there will be some release for the injured party. The second one is negligent misrepresentation. The word negligent means you are not careful about what you are making and you just make it in disregard. So if you are negligent about something, it means you are not reasonable about it, you are not careful about it, you don't even understand the intensity of the statement at hand, and you're just making it up. So this refers to a misrepresentation where the representee, the one making that false statement, cannot prove that he had a reasonable grounds for believing that the statement was true. That is negligent. So I made a statement, but I did not research to see if the statement I made is true. So it's more or less like an intention that I'm sharing, an opinion that I'm sharing, but this opinion is critical to the assignment, and I didn't take time to look at it because I was like, hey, we are running out of time. Can we get this thing done? Maybe later on we can check about the truity of the law relating to this particular arrangement. Boom, then you enter into the contract. It is called negligent misrepresentation. The remedies available for negligent misrepresentation is just the same as what is available for fraudulent misrepresentation. It could be a recession, let it go, decline about it, go home, or damages as for the thoughts of deceit under negligent misrepresentation. So that is also the second one about that. Let's look at the last one, number 3, and that's going to be an innocent misrepresentation. Innocent misrepresentation. Now, this one is funny and it's very interesting. The idea about innocent misrepresentation is unlike fraudulent, where the person knows, negligent, where the person doesn't have any reasonable ground to believe that what he's saying is true. Innocent is where the person making the false statement does not even know that the statement he was making was false. That's innocent representation. So it arises where the representer can prove that he had reasonable ground for believing that the statement was true. So that's it. You take me to court and I'm like, yo, okay, so back to Casapreco illustration that I gave at the beginning of the discussion. So let's say you took the person to court and the person said, no, I didn't lie to you, my lord, I didn't lie to this person. The reason I took that action was that I saw a publication on Facebook, or I saw a publication in the newspapers, and Casapreco announced that they are doing a program for businesses, and so businesses can come and buy goods at the end of the day, and the business can let people come in or buy goods at the end of the day, and anybody that arranges that deal, the person is likely to get some commissions coming in. Then the person said, I saw that ad, that was why I came to you, ma'am, and I took the money. And the 2,000 that I took it to Casapreco Company Limited, only for me to be told that, oh, this arrangement is no longer available, or the company no longer does that. So I didn't lie to you. I believed what I saw and I acted in the light of what I saw. So I didn't lie to you. Thou shalt not do anything serious about me. I've also lost money, probably because of that thing. I thought it was true and I believed it. That was why I came to you, talk to you, so that you will also enter into the contract at the end of the day. So that is the concept about innocent misrepresentation. So when it comes to the innocent misrepresentation, what are some of the solutions available? Just the same way as what we mentioned, there could be recession. So the same thing, recession, and then damage for thought of deceit at the end of the day. These are the things you must understand when we talk about misrepresentation.